Hey guys, Tempo here and welcome back to another video. So many of you on the stream have been asking for this, so here it is. This is the Cithrel rank 1 run that we did the other day. First Vigour to do it at that key level as well. And here are the talents that we played. We played basically this. And this is the gear, and this is the key, the gems that I played in this run as well. Now, basically for the run, we start off. We were here progging for an entire day, basically, on this extremely hard key to manage from start to finish, actually, especially the finish line. Some of the other bosses are also very hard. There were some nerfs coming in hot into this dungeon now, and basically making the dungeon way easier, but it's still really hard dungeon. Now you can probably do like above 40 in the dungeon at least. So we start off the dungeon here with ward on the tank, getting the weapon on cooldown, circle on the ground to give the tank the DR he needs, and just dot up all the targets, basically maintain tank's HP bar. It is an Helena as well, so keep in mind Helena does not have good self-sustain. Also Escaper, my tank, had also for this run, this is basically the first also run that we do with his Helena, an actual key, and it's also the hardest key, and his gem power is very weak here during this run. He has half the gem power basically that he is supposed to have in the end game, but we still managed to do it. Here basically you can see us like squeezing the explodey, well, stone skin basically. As you can see, like not killing off this mob, letting it rip into the next pack basically, exploding the stone skin properly. So here we're just gathering, same thing here, refresh the rune on him, rune of renewal, put down the circle of lights, put the weapon on cooldown, preferably take like a higher HP target or a target that actually needs to die. It depends a little bit. Sometimes it just choose the highest HP target, or it's just any mob that just you really want to get rid of ASAP, like a dangerous mob or something. Here we're on with Grand Melee, refresh some dots. Also warding the tank on cooldown here. It's like these mobs also got nerfed now in the recent patch. Now this incoming week, the jump from them will no longer instantly go on the target. It will like make a circle, stay on the ground with the circle, and then you can move out of it instead of like following your character basically. The same thing for the sentinels and the assassins, like they all have a cost now. It's way easier to notice what they're doing. I personally didn't think this fix was needed, maybe for the archers and the assassin, but I kind of like that the jumps from the Cithrels, the blades, actually like it became like a skill check for people like that had like dashes and blinks and stuff, and also a skill check for you like as a Vigour in order to like pre-shield and stuff. As you can see here, we're not playing Expansive Mind, which is a insanely important talent if you want to mana sustain. Also like get free runes and stuff like that, because you get more spirit, more runes, right? So basically here you can see, even though it's a stone skin, we're waiting for my mana a little bit, respecting it. And also like not only the mana, we're also waiting for like chicken cooldown to like be ready basically. Here once again, as you saw in the previous video in the Wormheart, I am the designated person to like bait and kite these scholar orbs. As you can see right of my character, it's like following me, sneaky boy. Same thing here, keep up the dots on the targets, shield the tank, like they shot some shields into the tank. Basically the more you shield the tank, the less mana you will have to use. Like if you choose to greater heal always instead of like weaving in greater heals and shields and sometimes renewals, you will eventually start going more and more in the super high keys, like the super high keys, you would notice this extremely a lot, like a lot of times. You really have to start min-maxing with your mana, especially if you want to like squeeze in the Expansive Mind or the Magic Ward for that 1 point basically. Here, always on the boss, on the betrayer's arrow, make sure that you always pre-shield the person that gets the arrow. Here you can see Runic Pro being slapped on with the runes before this AoE. If you see one guy dropping harder than the other, you can just throw like a greater heal on him or a shield. If a greater heal crits, it's stronger than a shield. If it doesn't crit, shield is stronger, basically. So it's a little bit of a mind game you'll have to do there, or, well, evaluate the situation yourself a little bit in those situations. But usually it's enough with like circle spam. Sometimes you will have to weave in that shield or that greater heal. You see the tank soak, refresh the rune on him, like throw a shield, throw a rune. Just keep him healthy. As you can see here, Betrayer's Arrow again. Just throw a shield always on the person. Even with shield, he's dropping to like 30-40%. Without shield, he will have to defensive it, I'm pretty sure. So you're like saving a defensive every time you pre-shield like that. On the move here, try to not be AFK and move. Try to always like use your Dawn Flare or your like refresh a rune or a shield or something like that. Here also, once again, we're doing the same rotation. We're runic proing, putting up the runes, exactly like echoes for Preservation Evoker in WoW. And this is like a little bit of a scary overlap. This is like the dot the AoE into like a Betrayer's Arrow. So be really like mindful of this. And be ready with the shield there in the last moment there so the person doesn't die, because that overlap is a little bit scary, but it's like completely handleable basically. Also, you can dispel this dot from this boss, the AoE dot that's going out when she's doing the AoE, but do not do this inside your AoE healing rotation, because spelling one person can get all of the others killed in like a super bad like lineup basically. So don't do that. But once everyone is full HP kinda, and you have 6 dots, and then the arrow goes on to the last person, then you can dispel that one person. That is a good dispel. Like a last global before you shield him is a really good dispel. When everyone is like fine. If people are dying and you choose to dispel one guy, it will almost never be worth it. As you can see here, like the dispel basically comes in hot, like the last bit of that AoE when we're already like good on HP basically, when it's safe to use the spell, because the spell is a global and you don't really want to like fuck yourself by thinking, oh, I need to dispel this, and then you're like not actually healing. That's 1 or 2 seconds and actually people will die. Here, don't do like me, like watch the timers so you don't waste weapon basically. Like here I had to cancel my weapon when the thing came from the boss and had to move to not die from it basically. Just be a little bit more mindful of the timers than I was here. Here on this pack, I usually tell Escaper to chill a little bit for mana, but here it was fine, so we didn't need to chill. Also ulted on that boss, and my ult is actually coming up again, because I have like close to 20% spirits. Like my ults are coming up like fairly quickly. I can ult several times in a dungeon, which is feeling nice. Sometimes you do have to hold your ult though. And you kind of have to think yourself a little bit when and how you need to like hold your ults basically. So here I see Grand Melee, I see some Escaper is like kind of beefy, so I hold the ward a little bit, and then I dish out the ward like a couple of seconds into the pull and not instantly here, because he's kind of beefy here on pull. I even think he spirits this pull, so he's kind of strong. Here after the ward, as you can see here, like as soon as the ward is expiring, basically, you can see that instantaneously there's like a dice coming in hot here, called from me. So basically I call like Coffee or Peerless dice here, or Pyramid, and it's on there. Here the same thing, like try to dot as much as you can, weave in the dots here. If you see jumps coming in hot, then just pre-shield as much as you can. Try to be close to the pack for the Circle of Light. Spam, or like, well, 1 or 2 of them that you're dishing out outside of your ultimates. Like either Levitate or Pure Ulti. Here we have another dice, and this is basically for Escaper to leave the pull. As soon as you have 3 globals, just try to dish out those dots. It's very, very good for rune sustain and also helping out with the damage. Basically, the better rune sustain you have, the better healing you will have as well. But don't like start dotting and stuff if you see that people are dying, basically. You only want to dot when you feel like you really have time in order to do so. Here on this pull, this is a little bit more like chill pull. Honestly, this is like not a scary pull at all. It can become scary if you kill all the ice shardlings like at the same time. Also, as you see here, we are squeezing it a lot here, and we are not having Master Spell. So we're playing all of this without Master Spell, and this is basically in order for us to have all the tools that we can in order to like live the last boss, basically. I know that some other groups have had a lot of issues with the Golem boss as well, but our group did not have that many issues with this boss. We played it kind of good, and we had a good strat for it as well, and we executed it very, very nicely. For us, sure, as other people, like the last boss is the true wall of this dungeon. Here's just like, as you can see, like there's not much happening to the group in this pull. So basically you're just whenever there's not too much happening on the group, you're actually allowed to use your runes in order to use for dots, and also just maintain one rune on the tank basically. And that should be enough and sufficient enough. Okay, here also, one little trick here, whenever these golems die, the big ones, you actually leave combat for a second before these smallies actually spawn. So you can actually abuse this for mana or take a campfire and so forth and so on, if you're like really quick about it. Here I am persistent and I always say take this campfire, because even if we wipe, the timer in this dungeon is kinda friendly, so we can actually still win, even if we wipe like 0.5% of this next boss, which is highly likely. Like you could do it. Like this next boss is actually kind of hard, because he ramps up and it becomes like harder and harder, and the damage intake that you do take from this boss is actually quite hard, like quite high. So here on this pull, there's not too much damage happening, so I'm choosing to use my Runic Pro in order to get like empower the dots up. And basically most of the damages you see here is just from dots. I didn't use my levitate for like radiant blasts at all. It's like 30k sustained from just dots basically, and like some dawn flares, which is pretty good. Here just be mindful of the corruptors. The corruptors in this dungeon, they just randomly apply a dot on a person, and this dot is dispellable and it does a lot of damage actually. So be ready to instantly dispel this dot. Here on this, my strat for this is, since I'm not running Grand Design, I'm not AoE shielding, but what I do is that when it's triple stacks from the ice shieldings, I do like two shields on two people, and then the third person, I just dispel him. So that like you're abusing the two shields, and then the other one is just getting dispelled, so he doesn't really need a shield. And then if the tank needs help during this moment, the two people are shielded, one is dispelled, so you can actually dish out some heals into the tank without any issues of thinking like that the other people in the group will die, basically. Here, as you can see, the dots keep going. You see, one more tick and I might have actually died there. So this corruptor is actually quite nasty. Does a lot of damage. Here, we realized in the other runs that I am actually going on for this boss. Like when we pull, we didn't want to abuse Explodey instantly, like Stoneskin, into the boss, but you should do it. What we figured out was that we let me leave combat here for the magic ward milk on the talents, and basically I'm just leaving them there. As you can see, they're there, I'm far behind. They're kind of chilling right now, and they will slowly come to me. And I'm full mana, and we will just hit this corruptor for a bit, because we realized that our timer is really, really good in this key. We timed this key with a lot of minutes left. So that's also like a judgment call you can do in keys, right? Like if your timer is really good, you don't really need to stress it. You can play it a little bit safer. You don't have to play it like too safe, obviously. But like if you can play it a little bit safer here and there, in order to like just not waste time in running out and in of the dungeon, you just should do it, basically. Okay, so this guy, once again, he's just perma-dotting us, or not perma, but he's like dishing out dots into us. We need to be mindful of those. And also you kind of don't want this dot, as you see here, to be applied during the boss, because during the boss we do take a lot of damage as well. You don't like want this dot to be applied when someone is soaking the boss mechanic, for example, because he can die if he doesn't have like a pre-shield, or he's getting like 1 or 2 shields into him. It does like an initial also and a tick. So here basically our strat was that the Rhyme Koffe is on the boss with Pilla, with the melee group, and I am doing the baitings of the orbs. And also the initial here, as you can see, if it's far, then Rhyme should take it. If it's close, then Tank should take it. And what you see here is that we figured out that we wanted to squeeze the first soaks and place them like as far out as we can of the arena, basically. Here you see the frontal bursting down the orbs that I'm kiting. Always try to basically pre-shield for the frontal on the person that has the frontal. Always also try to pre-shield the person that is soaking, even if it's on the tank, even if it's the tank soaking, as you can see here. Try to circle or shield, like try to make sure that they are topped, preferably topped and shielded, but if you can top them at least, that's good. Or like the DR from the circle playing with the cloak legendary, basically. You can see here, I'm not using ulti yet. I did use an early levitate, I'm pretty sure, in order to just get rid of cooldown, because like I will have another use and I don't really want to overcap the charges. And it's like good for damage and for mana sustain as well. And also like rune gen. Here we do an early pyramid on 40%-ish, because now it's starting to really hurt during this fight. It's ramping and ramping more and more. The more puddles you place, the more things that come in the ground, like you have less space, you have less, like more mechanics to do, or more frequent things to do, basically, when like it's already stressful with like the damage intake, as you can see here. You can see Koffe going far. Basically, every time there's a mechanic, try to pre-shield it. You will save mana, you will save headache, and so forth, so on. Also, like as you can see here, try to refresh the runes with the empowered runes with Runic Pro. Like it's very important you Runic Pro and then refresh the runes with Runic Pro, because they get empowered and they will just heal for way more. You can also see me like here. I could also squeeze the mana pots in order to get a little bit more DR here, but I'm not too sure how long the boss will be. And you can also outrange this frontal, as you can see here. You should probably do that every time if you can. I think it's fine here though. I use ultimate here. Probably that's why I'm saving mana pot a little bit. But honestly, I don't even need to mana pot here. It's so crazy. And also your ulti is giving you mana again, basically. But I might actually just press my mana pot here at the last 1 second, maybe. Okay, I don't. Okay, don't need any mana for this boss, GG. I mean, if you play this boss clean, like we had some tries where we played it less clean, and I had to basically mana pot way earlier. But here we play it so clean that I don't even need to press. So like, that just goes without saying. Like, the cleaner you play, the less mana the healer has to use. And that's just super good, right? Here, preferably, you don't want to stack with the other ranged person, because if the other ranged person gets the jump from one of the blades, you will have to move. Or if you get one of the jumps, they will have to move, you know? So try not to be stacked with them. Here also be ready for the dispels of the dots. Try to follow the simple rule as double shield, preferably at least one shield and then one dispel, and then maybe you can ruin the other guy or something, right? Try to have like a plan for the dots that are coming from these ones. Here we see Koffe die to a ground effect, it's fine, from the golem. There's also Corruptor in here if you would play this pack, so be ready to dispel the dot that it does. Also be ready with the jumps. If the people cannot like dodge the jumps, for example, just pre-shield them as always, right? Also try to keep in mind of the tank always, because all these packs actually hurt tank a lot. So you just have to watch tank a lot. Like try to use weapon for tank, try to pre-shield the tank a lot, try to keep the tank alive and healthy. Because unless people, like, how people can die on these spells is like if they get a double jump, or if they get a jump plus corruptor dot, Or if they get jumped, then the ice shardings are also like exploding and giving like the small dots on the group as well. So you kind of have to choose a little bit what to do. Here I tell Escaper to chill a little bit because my mana is not looking too hot. Might end up not even needing to mana pot here as well. Like if this pull goes clean, we can actually save the mana pot here also, but the mana relic. But once again, we are kind of fine on time. We don't have to stress anything. We have like 8 minutes for the boss, 7 after this pull probably. And it's like super healthy and super fine. Here once again, try to blast up your dots on the pack. Try to put your weapon on cooldown. Insta dispel the corrupted dot. I think here, like in an ideal situation, I could have mana potted, like mana relic, but I'm like a little bit scared that if I mana relic and we say like go 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 go, and I'm like getting stressed out, and then like I will not have like my mana pot for the boss, which I kind of want to. Like I preferably I want like 2 mana pots used on the boss. Because once again, I'm not going expansive mind here. Like my mana management is crucial. Like in the end of this boss, like it will be very, 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 very rough on my mana. Especially if it like doesn't go super clean, and the odds of it not going like too clean is actually very high. Because there are like a lot of RNG elements to this boss, which that is what made it so hard. Like we didn't really try it now after the nerfs, but I would imagine it's way easier now after the nerfs, at least on this key level. But it's gonna start like being very rough on like maybe if you do this on like 50 or something, like probably gonna be like 40. It's gonna be 41 next. After that 45, and then 49. Like 45, 49 in this, it's gonna be still like pretty much pre-nerf. It's gonna be equal to the 37. I think like equal should be like 45 maybe Cithrels, or 47 Cithrels, or 49 Cithrels, I mean. Okay, here we are starting the boss. Try to... Why I'm dark flaring so much is like basically I want to do damage on the boss and also getting my runes up and running. So I start the fight with good runes. Escaper was taking immense amount of damage from this frontal. We had a lot of deaths and tries from this frontal. And also like it's a lot because he was very low on runes. And his character is like basically fresh. Like it's very new character that he went to. Coffee as well, he swapped to it as well. Like very recently. So here we had the breath, pre-shield on the tank for the breaths. Like always, look. Try to at least have a pre-shield on the tank. Me, myself, I had to always shield myself for this. Because I went a little bit different rune setup for more haste. As you can see there, Adrenaline Rush in the buff bar. Here I would preferably probably ward me and Coffee. This is like an example of why Bracing Light is so immensely strong in so many situations. Basically here you have a murderous dot on both me and Coffee. If I ward him here, that means that basically we are saving like his defensive, right? And that's what we originally wanted to do. But then I think that we talked a little bit about Escaper wanting this ward, and like kind of messed with my head a little bit. But I think ideal situation here should be a ward on me and Coffee. So I think this is not super optimal. Like we did it in all the other tries, but here I'm just a little bit cautious for Escaper because we've had some deaths to this frontal actually, and the frontals on this boss hurts a lot for the tank. So I'm a little bit cautious with this ward, but here I think I ward Coffee actually. I'm not sure. Maybe not. Frontal incoming, timing the weapon for it. As you can see here, the frontal, it's doing so much damage. It's actually fine. I think this was actually, like, it's insane that we killed it on this pull, because, like, this was, like, one of the, I think, one of the, like, for me at least, one of the worst pulls for me. But we still kill it somehow. Here, like, just when you're stalking, try to always pre-shield yourself at least. The other two are also, like, I don't know, it depends on group to group, right? But here in this group, I felt like people were kind of beefy when it came to the one shot. Like Pilla survived because he has so much stam. He went like stam gems and stuff in his normal build, and Coffee was, it felt like he was kind of tanky for it as well. But I actually died because I swapped my gems for a more HPS oriented build and rune gen build instead of like getting that extra stamina. Basically, I was getting overkilled by like 3-4k or something like that. So here's it's a shield. Couldn't really get the pre-shield there, but he was kind of strong there. That's good. Where did we ward here? Okay, this ward was actually not good, in my opinion. Or, well, it's gonna go for this bleed initial, but I actually think this ward was suboptimal. If anything, it should have gone on coffee, I think. But like, it's somewhat fine, I guess. It's not an optimal ward, though. I would have wanted to use my wards like I originally planned, like actually for the double dot. Like here, for example, this is a perfect ward. Me and Pillar, right? I can make Pillar save his defensive by just having me and him warded. Here, I don't know what exactly is going on, but Coffee is getting sniped by one of our dots here, which maybe it's me griefing him a little bit. Yeah, I went in a little. He could have moved, but I also griefed him a little bit. And this actually made my mana, like it made me like actually burst like 10% more of my mana than I should have needed there. So here it's like a little bit sketchy. I am ulted, very hectic scenario. No dot even on the boss. I'm like very dry here on the runes and everything. Like this is starting to be like full panic right here. I ward Escaper in order to take care of Pilla a little bit more. The shield is strong as fuck, actually saving his life. Here we are choosing to actually sacrifice because it's omega rough. It was mega rough to deal with this without sacrificing the two last guys. So here we're dishing out some heals. Always watch the tank, try to dish out heals on him. We don't have rune even on the tank right now because it's all rune like dry, and we also died, so it's like a little bit fucked. We refresh the rune right here. We have Path of Oblivion on Coffee, that's perfect. He is the next one to sacrifice, and Pilla is resting him. And this is the last bit of the boss. I didn't like here. I'm basically using my last rune to refresh. What am I doing with this rune here? I just want to watch. Okay, shield, shield, shield. And here I don't have a rune. Basically, I want one more rune. I dished out the rune on Pilla here. And then, like, I wasn't sure if I was gonna get another rune from this Dawnflare. So basically, like, I'm kind of dying, and I'm hoping that the Escaper will not get 100-0 from this frontal. And if it doesn't get 100-0 from the frontal, which is, like, the most likely situation, like, this weapon is just gonna, like, stabilize a little bit after it's done, right? Which it's doing. And it's like, GG, the boss is dead. And there is the run, guys. Very nice. And then you can see we're very happy. But also, like, I don't know, this boss should have died for us, like, a couple of pulls before, but there was so unlucky situations happening. Like, there was so unlucky situations happening, like, on those, like, pulls before this kill. I was just heartbreaking because, like, the boss was, like, several times on, like, 5 to 10%. And we, like, literally wiped on 5 to 10% with, like, tools available just because, like, of like misplaced soak instead of just sacrificing. And that's when we like really said like, okay, like dude, just sacrifice the last two, or like at least last one or two, like just sacrifice them. Stop like milking, because we tried to milk and not sacrifice, and it just ended up being like too fucking hectic. Like we were leaving the soaks, and then like the boss gripped us through the after explosion of the soak and like actually just killed us. It's just several times like this happening, and it was just heartbreaking. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and more content will come. Don't forget to sub, follow the channel. It means a lot to me, and you can also check me out on my Twitch, which is linked down below. GG's.